Are you constantly in a rush, always obsessing over the ETA? We live in a world that is just entirely fixated on arrivals. Seriously, from the second we lace up our shoes in the morning, our minds are already 10 miles down the road. We're calculating the absolute fastest route, stressing about that morning meeting, or just wishing we were already back home on the couch. We are practically hardwired to care about absolutely nothing but the destination.
So I want you to ask yourself, why do we treat the space between here and there as a tax? Think about your own mindset the last time you were traveling. We almost always view transit as this super frustrating burden, right? It's like a toll we just have to pay to get to where we actually want to be. We just want to get it over with. But what if we've been looking at it completely wrong this whole time? Picture this. You're sitting on a freezing cold metal bench at a bus station, and it's 3 a.m. You're just watching the neon lights flicker off the wet asphalt. If you have ever been stuck in a transit zone late at night, you know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. It's this highly specific, incredibly moody feeling where it honestly feels like time has completely stopped. But hidden inside these weird places we were never really meant to stay in, there's actually a strange, radical kind of comfort waiting for us.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Enter the Non-Place, the anthropological theory of transit. Believe it or not, there's a real academic framework that perfectly explains that bizarre midnight feeling, and it'll totally change how you look at the spaces you usually just sprint through. Back in the 1990s, French anthropologist Marc Augé coined this brilliant term for these environments. He called them non-places. These are spaces of circulation, consumption, and communication, and by design, they are entirely sterile. They're built purely for efficiency, absolutely not for human connection. They demand absolutely nothing from you except that you keep moving. They're just functional, utilitarian, and completely devoid of intimacy. The core difference here is super fascinating. On one hand, you have anthropological places. Think of your hometown, a historic old church, or that local pub you go to every Friday. Those places carry heavy history, personal identity, and really deep relationships. But on the other hand, we have our non-places. Think airport terminals, massive highway rest stops, huge hotel lobbies. They are strictly temporary, and they are completely sterile. But here is the crucial point. What happens when we finally stop rushing? When that frantic urgency of arrival completely fades away, and we finally stop checking our watches every 10 seconds, something pretty miraculous happens. The non-place transforms. Stripping away all that frantic anxiety turns what should be a cold, hostile environment into this sanctuary of radical comfort. You actually stop fighting the space and just start existing in it. Which brings us to Section 2, the magic of being no one, escaping your identity. These spaces offer us total, unprecedented relief from our daily lives and all those heavy societal expectations we usually drag around. Think about it. In normal life, you are completely tethered to your identity, right? You're someone's employee, partner, child, neighbor. You carry this dense web of expectations wherever you go. But inside an airport terminal at midnight, the slate is wiped totally clean. Those roles do not board the plane with you, at least not while you're sitting at the gate. In the transit zone, everyone is a ghost. Honestly, let that sink in for a second. The person sitting right next to you, casually charging their phone, could literally be a Fortune 500 CEO, some eccentric artist, or someone completely starting their life over. And it truly doesn't matter. In the cold, fluorescent eyes of the terminal, everyone is an absolute equal. We're all just bodies waiting for a gate to open. And you know what? That anonymity is wildly liberating. Because no one knows who you are, you're finally allowed to just be. You can do things that would seem completely insane anywhere else. You want to drink a beer at 6 a.m.? Go for it. Cry into a paper cup of terribly bitter coffee? Absolutely. Stare blankly at a blanking departure board for a full hour? No one is going to judge you. The normal rules of reality are completely suspended. Let's move on to Section 3, reclaiming the art of waiting, stopping the mindless scroll. We have been so deeply conditioned to view waiting as a total waste of time. If you have a layover, your very first instinct is probably to try and kill it. Usually, we look at time as a resource, something we have to spend, rush, or aggressively fill by replying to emails or buying overpriced candy at duty-free. But when you consciously choose to just linger in the temporary, time actually becomes a space to inhabit, to observe, and to just peacefully exist in limbo. And there's this profound, almost hilarious solace in one simple fact. You are legally and physically stuck. You literally cannot go anywhere until they call your boarding group. And because you absolutely cannot move forward, all that massive, crushing pressure to achieve, it just vanishes. You're entirely off the clock of life. And honestly, that is a beautiful thing. The second you stop mindlessly scrolling on your phone, the non-place turns into this incredible theater of human existence. The Midnight Theater. Just look around. You'll see tired couples leaning on their luggage, solo backpackers reading worn-out paperbacks, workers methodically sweeping the floors under those buzzing fluorescent lights. You start to realize everyone around you is caught up in their own beautifully messy story, and your paths are just crossing for this one fleeting moment. Bringing us to our final part, Section 4, Belonging in the Nowhere, the Ultimate Realization. This all taps directly into a crazy, fascinating paradox about modern loneliness. It's kind of the ultimate irony of the human condition, isn't it? We often feel the most intensely lonely sitting in the very places we're supposed to call home. Yet we can feel deeply, almost strangely connected when we are entirely lost in transition. Finding comfort in these transient places isn't about romanticizing being alone. It's really about acknowledging a much deeper truth about what it actually means to be human. And here's the core takeaway of this whole explainer. Life itself is a liminal space. Seriously, think about it. We are never truly static. We are all permanently moving between who we were yesterday and who we are becoming tomorrow. The transit zone, it's really just a physical, concrete manifestation of what we are constantly going through mentally and emotionally anyway. We're always in transition. So how do we actually apply this? Well, the next time you find yourself stuck at a dreary gate or waiting for some delayed train, try this. Number 1, don't just rush to escape the delay by burying your face on a glowing screen. Number 2, literally take a deep, conscious breath. And number 3, look around and lean into the weightlessness of being a total stranger. Just embrace the pause. The most profound sense of belonging comes from the quiet realization that you are nowhere, you are no one, and you are entirely free. Sometimes the greatest sense of belonging doesn't come from having a fixed address at all. It comes from accepting the absolute, total empowerment of that freedom. Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. If life is really just a journey between who we were and who we are becoming, aren't we kind of always in a non-place? Let that sit with you the next time you find yourself waiting.